Driving Chronicles. Driving Chronicles. What I got going on today? All right, so I'll tell you about the weekend, and then I'll pull out a fresh thought on the day. All right. So, what happened this weekend? So this weekend, a couple things happened. We celebrated our son and daughter, the twins, also known as the twins. We had their birthday party, which was good. It was a Sonic, either Sonic Dolphin or Sonic Football. My son is Sonic, and my daughter is football. She's really into football. So that's the type of birthday we had. So they turned 7, 6, 7. So they turned 7, which has kind of flown by. It just had me thinking a little bit about, where they're at. And I just the other day, my wife had flashed me a picture of them when they were 1. And we did this large, massive cake for them that they split in half, and then we took pictures with them and stuff like that. So we feel like so far removed because we've added so many memories on top of that I didn't really even give it a chance to really think about it. We've been through a lot already as a family. They've been through a lot already as kids. So if you don't know the background story, my twins are adopted. Right? Adopted them from foster care, but we met them very early on. We met them when they were 11 months old, and we raised our hands then to adopt them if it went that route. It pretty much took another 2.5 years of back and forth in the court system, but also being diligent and consistent and in our serving of them every other weekend for years. So we used to watch them every other weekend for 2.5 years while their case was still, in the court, in the foster system. And then, probably the hardest time for me emotionally was during that time. Hi, how you doing? Where are you guys from? So that was probably the most challenging time for me emotionally, having to have these kids in our home, and be part of their lives for 2.5 years without a definite resolution or a solution. Right. Meanwhile, they're building bonds, they're building connections. They're starting to express themselves, and you don't know if you should fully commit or give part of yourself, or where to be, where to land emotionally. That was something I really had to learn. But I just remember a friend of mine yelling at me, because I was guarding my heart while serving them in foster care. And then he said to me, he was like, Sam, you give them every ounce of you, right? Because that's what they deserve. And I agree, they do deserve that, right? But in the time you're trying to protect yourself emotionally from, you don't know what the court's going to do. That's my experience when it comes to foster care and foster work. You don't know where the court is going to land or what they're going to issue, but you're standing in the gap for people that didn't ask. They didn't ask for this version of reality. They didn't ask to be dealt into a hand that looks like that for them. They're kids, right? So this is kind of bringing me back through the muck that helped me get there to adopting, our kids. Hey, how's everybody doing? All right. So, we had to be consistent, even though the ground was shaky. We had to continue to say yes, even though we knew it was uncertain. We knew we could potentially get hurt. We knew it didn't feel right in our stomachs on, the twists and turns of the court system. We knew all of that. But the other thing we know who's in control. Well, God is in control, right? So, we started to put our doubts, our uncertainties in Him to give us peace to say yes, continuingly, right? So that's kind of what that process and that journey looked like, during, and it took a lot. It took a lot out of us. I'm not gonna lie, right? It took a lot out of us when you're uncertain of how the courts are going to land with the decision that you're investing into. But we also know too, at the same time too, there isn't no guarantees. There isn't any guarantees when you decide to commit your life to foster care and commit to taking care of children for the right reasons, right? For the right reasons. So it is never a guarantee. So, when finding, allowing them and watching them grow and them becoming 7 now seemed like it was eons ago, but it was so hard. It was so hard, right? And then fast forward a little bit, we are in the courthouse, in the courtroom, and I think at this time they're about like 4, I believe, close to 5. Right? A lot of time has passed. And then we finally, once the gavel goes down, get relief. The gavel went down, and then it was like, now we could rest a little bit. Now we don't have to worry. Now all the things that were burdensome in our hearts and in our heads could just pause just for a minute, and then we could just be, the family that God wanted us to be. All right, so that's kind of what that's like. So watching them turn 7 this past week, it's been good. Watching them learn, watching them grow, watching them make mistakes, watching their behavior improve, watching over them, which God has helped us do, has been an absolute blessing. It has been a blessing. Where's everybody from? So that was this weekend. Also this weekend, we had a flag football game. So I'm coaching all 3 of my kids on one team, which is very special for me. And we get into this game, and we played a second-ranked team, right? And we knew they were good, but it's not about them. It's about us. It's about what we do. It's about our execution. It's about our game plan, us staying on schedule, right? And we come down early, and we punch them in the mouth, and we score, right? Early. Then the defense is on click clack, and the defense is holding them down the whole time, right? The defense is controlling them. The defense is squeezing them. The defense is not allowing them to get going, and then with 22 seconds left, quarter, they run a double reverse. We're out of position, and they score on us. Right? Not happy stuff. So not only did they score on us, they went for 1. We didn't convert our 1, and they got it. We're just lucky that there's a penalty on the play, which negates the score, right? So then now there's 2 seconds left on the clock, and it's tied 6-6, right? So I call our special play, right? Which is jet reverse. So many things went wrong on this play, right? And what happened is, even though so many things went wrong, we break. My son would have scored. He would have scored. But there's a flag on the play. And it's get called back. Game over. Right? It was that dramatic. And it felt like a loss walking out of there, just because we did so many good things. And then at the end, with very little time left, we weren't able to, close them out the way we wanted to. Right? So that was very dramatic, obviously. But there's lessons there, right? The lesson is, the game's never over until it's over, right? Until the clock or the gavel goes down and it says 0-0-0, or we have life in our body. Those two examples, the game's not over, right? And that's what I want to teach the kids. That's what I want to teach the kids. If you haven't already, hit like and subscribe. That's what I want to teach the kids. The game is not over until it's zeroed out. 0-0-0 on the clock. Right? So that's just kind of what this weekend looked like. It was a chill weekend. Didn't have a lot going on besides those couple of things. Definitely a great family weekend. But what else I got? So there's lessons. There's lessons everywhere. There's lessons everywhere. So this weekend was great. I continue to work on myself. I continue to work on these kids. I continue to dial it up the best I can as a coach, as a man, as a family. And we continue to see the fruit grow from our tree. Good fruit, good seeds that are beginning to water now and continuing to grow. So just want to say thank you for checking us out. Thank you for, if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button. So Driving Chronicles, have a great day.